Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're jumping headfirst into a moment of total crisis in one of the world's most profound spiritual texts, the Bhagavad Gita. Our source is right from the beginning of Chapter 2, where a great warrior's breakdown on the battlefield actually opens the door to some absolutely timeless wisdom.
So I want you to just imagine this for a second. You're standing on a massive battlefield. The entire fate of a kingdom is resting on this moment. You are Arjuna, literally the greatest warrior of your time. But then you look out, across the field, and you see the faces of your teachers, your own cousins, your friends, and suddenly all your strength just evaporates. This is exactly where our story kicks off.
And this isn't just a soldier losing his nerve. It's a much deeper internal conflict. The real battle here is between what's called material compassion, this overwhelming pity for the physical bodies of his family, and his higher spiritual duty. This one moment of crisis is what sets the stage for all the incredible wisdom that's about to unfold.
What's really interesting is how this story is told. It's actually being narrated to the blind king, Dhritarashtra, by his charioteer, Sanjaya. And this very first verse of the chapter, well, it paints an incredibly vivid picture of Arjuna's complete and utter breakdown.
Okay, so here is the verse. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 1, in the original Sanskrit. Sanjaya uvacha, tam tata kripaya vishtam, ashru purna kulekshanam, vishidantam idam vakyam, uvacha madhusudanaha.
And here on the screen, you can see the transliteration. It really helps to break the verse down, so you could connect those ancient sounds to the words as we start to unpack what they mean. And here we have the translation. I mean, it's just so powerful and direct, isn't it? Arjuna is full of compassion, his mind is depressed, and his eyes are full of tears. He's completely paralyzed by his emotions.
So, this is the first major twist, the crucial point. This intense sadness, this compassion that seems so, human, it's not actually seen as a virtue here. Instead, it's presented as a sign of ignorance, an ignorance of who we truly are beyond our temporary physical bodies. The source material gives us this absolutely brilliant analogy to make sense of this. Think about it. If you saw someone drowning, you wouldn't waste your time trying to save their clothes, would you? Of course not. You'd save the person. Trying to save the dress is just senseless.
And that's the heart of the matter right there. The physical body is just the outward dress. The real person, the actual self, is the eternal soul that's within. So Arjuna's grief is for the dress, not for the person inside it. And that's exactly why his compassion is considered misplaced.
So how does Krishna, who's right there driving Arjuna's chariot, respond to this total emotional collapse? You might expect a gentle, comforting word, right? Nope. What he says next is sharp, it's direct, and it's basically designed to shock Arjuna out of this state of delusion.
Let's listen to the second verse. Shri Bhagavan uvacha, kutastva kashmalamidam, vishame samupastitam, anarya jushtam, aswargyam, akirtikaram Arjuna.
Now notice the structure here. That very first part, Shri Bhagavan uvacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it immediately signals that the one who is about to speak is not just an ordinary person. This is a divine address.
And the translation is just stunning. Krishna calls Arjuna's deep feelings impurities. He's basically saying, where did this weakness come from? He tells him straight up that this path doesn't lead to heaven, it leads to disgrace. This is a direct, full-frontal challenge to Arjuna's entire state of mind. Okay, so what gives Krishna the authority to speak like this? Well, the verse uses that very specific title, Bhagavan. And to really feel the weight of his words, we have to understand exactly what that title implies. It's so much more than just a name. See, Bhagavan isn't just a generic word for God. It's a very specific definition. It refers to the one single person who possesses all 6 of these qualities: riches, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation, completely and all at the same time. Many people might be a little rich or a little strong, but only one being possesses all of them, infinitely. That's the person who is rebuking Arjuna. The source gives us this amazing analogy of the sun to help us grasp this. There are different levels of understanding the absolute truth. You could study the sunshine, that's like the impersonal Brahman. You could get a bit closer and understand the sun's surface. That's like the Paramatma, the supreme within all hearts. Or you could know the sun planet itself, the source of everything. That highest, most complete understanding, that is Bhagavan.
So, with that understanding of who is speaking, Let's circle back to his words. Why on earth would Bhagavan Krishna call Arjuna's heartfelt compassion an impurity? Well, it really boils down to a fundamental clash of two different worldviews.
Now, in this context, Krishna uses the term Aryan to describe someone who knows the true spiritual value of life. Their whole civilization, their whole goal is spiritual realization. The non-Aryan view, on the other hand, is completely trapped by the external material world. So Krishna is basically telling Arjuna, your behavior right now is befitting someone who has no clue what the real purpose of life is.
And this right here gets to the absolute core of the issue. Arjuna is a Kshatriya, a warrior. His sacred duty, his dharma, is to fight for a righteous cause. By shrinking away from this duty because of material pity, he's not only setting himself up for worldly disgrace, he's actually blocking his own spiritual progress. From this higher perspective, his compassion has become a kind of weakness.
And so, these first two verses, they just throw us right into the deep end, don't they? Krishna's shocking words force us and Arjuna to rethink everything we thought we knew about right and wrong. And it leaves us with this huge question, one that applies way beyond any battlefield. In our own lives, when our feelings clash with our duties, how do we tell the difference between true compassion and a disabling pity that actually stops us from fulfilling our purpose?
If this explainer helped you unpack this incredibly profound teaching, please support the channel by liking this video, sharing it with someone who might find it useful, and subscribing for more deep dives into foundational texts. Thanks so much for watching.